The Incredibly Strange Creatures is, well, an incredibly strange movie. Also known by its full title, The Incredibly Strange Creatures Who Stopped Living and Became Mixed Up Zombies, which I will not be using for the bulk of this video, is a movie I'd heard of online as one of those so bad it's good movies, but I knew genuinely nothing about it before making this review. The film was directed, written, produced, and even starred Ray Dennis Steckler, who used the pseudonym Cash Flag in the film's credits. This gives a personal story vibe, much like The Room or Titanic 2, so that kind of gives you an idea of what we're in for. It was also made on a budget of only $30,000, make of that what you will. This is the sort of film that exists somewhere between bad movie infamy and genuine cult fascination, so I went in expecting a mess and a very specific kind of film. But is The Incredibly Strange Creatures really terrible, or does it have genuine entertainment value? Let's find out. Without further ado, on with the review.
Polos is life, 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 sleep all night and then Polos is life.
The movie opens with a shot of a curtain at a carnival, and this fortune teller named Estrella is being accosted by some drunk guy. She's played with a terribly unconvincing accent, and the acting in this scene really sets the tone for the entire film.
You dirty, filthy pig! So I belong with the freaks, huh?
We're less than 2 minutes into the movie, by the way. Estrella asks her henchman, Ortega, to help her turn this guy into one of her pets, and he drags him to the floor. She throws hydrochloric acid onto him, which would be incredibly painful. And we get some opening credits that seem like they belong in one of those analog horror series. The film focuses on this dance act at a nearby nightclub for way too long, and one of the dancers, Marge Nilsson, is an alcoholic. She's also very superstitious and is terrified of black cats, and also happens to be played by Steckler's then wife, Carolyn Brandt. Her boss tells her off for drinking between shows as it's affecting her performance, and I'm sure this will be relevant later. We then see our main characters, Harold and his friend Jerry, the latter of which is played by a Cash Flag. Harold tells Jerry he needs to get a job, and we get the impression Jerry is kind of a layabout. Jerry has planned on going to the carnival with his girlfriend Angela, who is the most 60s looking girl that I've ever seen. Angela's mother doesn't approve of Jerry, but she heads to the carnival with him anyway. Big mistake, I'm guessing. Jerry, Angela, and Harold go on various rides, and some parts are clearly dubbed over.
Don't do that!
We then see Marge and her partner, Bill Ward, performing again, and I'm pretty sure a lot of this scene is just shots from before. However, this time, Marge trips and falls during the performance. Her boss gives her the next night off, but says if she's not sober by the time she returns, she's fired. Marge is sick and needs help, but you can't exactly be drinking on the job. We get even more shots of fair rides, and Marge visits Estrella with the intention of having her fortune read. Marge worries that her life may be in danger, and when Estrella reads her tarot using playing cards, she reveals the death card. The cards here are circular, which I find very interesting. Marge runs around the booth in shock and accidentally alerts a zombie, but she manages to escape. Curious, Harold, Jerry, and Angela have their fortunes read. Angela has a palm reading which tells her that she will be married once, that her mother will not approve of her husband, and that she will become very rich. Shocking. Despite warning that crystal gazing is very dangerous, Estrella does so anyway, and warns the group that there will be much unhappiness in the near future, as someone close to Angela will die. Again, who could have seen this coming? More specifically, Estrella tells Angela that the person will die near water. Following their departure from the booth, Jerry sees Estrella's sister, Carmelita, a dancer who appears to have vampire-like hypnotic powers. She compels Jerry to watch her performance, and Angela naturally takes offense at this, leaving with Harold. We next see someone perform a song about falling out of love and moving on, which I suppose is meant to reflect Angela's emotional journey throughout this film. I really couldn't find any information on this movie's soundtrack, but apparently this is the song It Only Hurts, and it's sung by famous bassist Carol Kaye. After Carmelita's show, Jerry is lured backstage and is hypnotized by Estrella, using one of those stripy wheel thingies. At the nightclub, a man named Don Snyder sings a song about being unsure in love. His voice is nice and the style is typical of the time.
My heart's aflame and I can't really tell the meaning in your tender kiss.
Marge and Bill perform right after, but Jerry stabs and kills Marge, rather unconvincingly, and wounds Bill. Jerry has no memory of these events, but has terrible nightmares about what has transpired. The segment and editing that goes with it are interesting, but at least they're trying to be creative, you know? Jerry visits Angela once he wakes up to try to make amends, but is triggered by her spinning her parasol. I actually rather like that idea story-wise. He attempts to strangle her, but her brother stops him, and Jerry flees the scene in confusion. One of the chorus girls, Stella, expresses to Estrella that she has grown suspicious of her, which doesn't seem too smart when she may have been involved in a murder. Jerry confronts Carmelita and Estrella about the previous night's events, so they hypnotize him again. Jerry murders Stella, and then her date when he comes to pick her up. When Jerry returns to Estrella, she throws acid on his face and traps him with the rest of her pet zombies. However, this releases a couple of them, and they attack her, Carmelita, and Ortega. I'm not really sure why this is, as I thought they were meant to be under Estrella's command. Anyways, the zombies attack the other carnival workers before the police show up and shoot them down. Maybe the cops were just in the area, but I get the feeling that they just want to wrap this film up. Jerry, now partially disfigured, runs for his life onto the beach, and this chase scene goes on for quite a while. He's shot by one of the officers and lands in the water below, fulfilling Estrella's prediction from the beginning of the film. So, what did I think of the incredibly strange creatures overall? Well, what can I say about this movie? I went into it completely blind and wasn't expecting it to be a musical film at all. It's not really a musical in the traditional sense, with characters bursting into song as part of the storytelling medium. It's more like the original producers, where the musical numbers make sense within a real-world setting, and are part of the carnival acts. Despite its title, the film doesn't feature zombies in the modern sense. Instead, it features people that have been hypnotized, which are closer to the more archaic and looser use of the term zombie, based in voodoo traditions rather than a creature closer to a ghoul. This is probably because the film was released 4 years before George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead, which standardized the modern zombie as a reanimated cannibalistic corpse. The resulting disconnect is kind of a genre bait and switch, which may contribute to the film's reputation for misdirection. On top of the really dodgy acting, a lot of the film seems to have unsynced audio, or perhaps it's been dubbed over. One thing I do like about the film though, is its interesting cinematography. There are a lot of handheld shots, especially on the carnival rides and the scenes where characters are distressed. The camera often intentionally zooms in and out too, especially during the hypnotism scenes. High contrast lighting also helps to set the creepy atmosphere the film is intending to portray, especially in scenes involving Estrella. It's one of the more memorable parts of the film, and shows that Steckler and his team were at least trying to make something good. The movie was apparently mostly filmed at an amusement park named The Pike in Long Beach, California. It was said to often hold activities similar to those depicted in the film, and was demolished in 1979, 15 years after The Incredibly Strange Creatures was released. Overall, I don't actually think that The Incredibly Strange Creatures is that terrible of a movie. It has bad acting, questionable character decisions, shoddy editing, but at least the people involved were trying, and it doesn't go on for too long. I found it far more interesting of a watch than something like Manos. If you're interested in kitchen campy films, I'd definitely recommend it. Well, that's all for this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching.
The blue and green ones are my favorite kind, but I'll eat the colored ones from time to time. Cause Polos is life, 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 Polos is life. Sleep all night and then Polos is life.